Listen to that wonderful guitar. Oh, well. The name of this song is Partita for Violin Solo number 2, which is curious because this is clearly not a violin, but that's neither here nor there. So, anyways, welcome. It's Sunday. It's Sunless Skies Day. I'm excited to get back into this. I had a lot of fun with it last time, so I can't wait to jump back into the high wilderness and find out what kind of horrible things await us in the depths of sort of space. I guess first things first, my emotes have officially been approved on Twitch, so they're there, they're available. There's only 2 right now for the 2 different tiers. I might put a 3rd one for the tier 3, and then eventually, once more slots open up, I'll rotate them down so that people get maximum availability. Because yeah, I believe that everybody, you should be able to get as many emotes as possible with as little, input, as little monetary commitment, I suppose. I am all about that. Hopefully everything works out. We've had a lot of thunderstorms here today. There's been like 2 already. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, power doesn't get bumped out or anything like that. We don't have any warnings or anything in place, so I'm not overly concerned, but it is a possibility. So if I disappear, I will let you know. There was quite a severe storm yesterday, not here, but nearby. We kind of just missed it by like an hour. There was like golf ball sized hail raining down in Calgary, a whole bunch of damage to people's houses and stuff. So that's cool. I think a tornado touched down somewhere too. So hey, that's where I live right now. That's the reality of our weather situation here. So again, if I do disappear, then I will let you know if there was a power bump or if it was something more severe. But at this point, there's no warning, so we should be good. In any event, it is about time to get back to Sunless Seas. On our weekly show. My name is Zara, and I just died in your arms tonight. At least I hope I didn't. If we die, well, of course, dying in Sunless Skies isn't really that big of a deal, because we can come back fairly easily. Thank you, Bach. You have wonderful music. For anyone who wasn't here last time, I've decided to change all of my stream intro music to just like classical music compositions, so that the DMCA is hopefully less eager to take me down. Why is this not working now? Alright, we're back into Sunless Skies. We're going to continue our game. I remember a few things that happened last time. I don't remember everything. We'll see where we kind of left off. So I do remember that we left off in Carillon, which is a kind of fancy place run by devils, which in this world is not a euphemism or anything. They are actual devils from hell, supposedly. Let's do a quick little look here. So we've got a whole lot of quests going on right now. In our crew, we currently have the chief engineer, who is very reckless and fond of explosions, it seems. But they are skilled at what they do. And then there's also the first officer, who we learned last time. It's not in here, but we learned last time she is the daughter of Queen Victoria. So we have a princess and a dangerous engineer on board. So we did talk to the presiding Deviless here at Carolyn last time. I remember that. But there is a bunch of other stuff here to do. Quite a lot to do. So yeah, we need to try and collect all of these penances in order to unlock something else. So let's go to the Terrace of Glass Statues. So the path is a mirrored labyrinth. Entry is forbidden to those who are not already afflicted with a flickering soul, which we have. No one else on the passage to the terrace will admit that they know where they're going. What a curious figure, says an old man, pointing in his own reflection. Here's hoping there aren't any other clowns of that nature where we're going, eh? He jabs you in the rib with his elbow. Fail to see our reflection, regard our reflection with distaste, or admire our reflection, which is handsomer than usual. Why have we never noticed the brilliance of our eyes? You stumble over a woman in a bee costume. Oh. And nearly miss the turning into the terrace. It's an absurd arrangement here. A person could wander the labyrinth all day long without reaching their destination. Oof, that's not great. So to get a penance of an inescapable truth requires a mirror's skill check. But I guess stand in front of one of the statues and it will melt into your pose. It will look you in the eye. Its face will be your face, minus a few marks of character. It will still be transparent. Let's approach the Grim Penitent, because I'm not going to make that skill check. The man is slim and there are circles under his eyes. He shows no energy at all. He lifts his eyes when you seat yourself. It takes time for him to speak. He finds the effort of conversation very hard going. For the first few exchanges, he confines himself to the weather at Carillon, but finally he tells you why he's here. Too many years I lived on the other side of a mirror, he says. So long that I forgot everything but that place and its ways, where is and is not change places. I took a companion and endured his not love. It took me a long time to recognize it for what it was. We are assisting a penitent who has a little too much contact with the Finger Kings. I have no idea what that means. Alright, we can't do that stuff, so we'll leave him be. I guess we'll return to the center of Carillon. A man in a shabby dress walks beside you, looking rather depressed. Let's go to the Gaslight Terrace. I think we may have done this last time. Yes, I'm sure that we did this one last time. Yeah, same thing. So let's try going to the Bell Garden this time. You put your foot on the first step and a devil blocks you. Those who enter the Bell Garden must be in a proper state of hygiene, Captain, he says. I wouldn't want to make things worse for the poor sufferers. He washes his hands in the fountain. Stopping you must have been grubby work. You've been turned away for impurity. Huh. Alright. I guess not. Is there anything else to do here? No. So we would have written our port report, I think, last time. We are doing pretty good on fuel and supplies. could get some unseasoned hours, which is a walnut-sized geode within which an hour grows like salt crystals. Captain dabs discreetly at his eye with a handkerchief. Being close to this much time makes one melancholy. For those who were not here last time, time and hours are a physical thing in this game. It is very strange, but such is the nature of the Fallen London universe. Nah, I'm gonna keep our money. I'm gonna save up for some upgrades or something like that. So that was Caroline, I guess. So here's our map. Last time we set forth from New Winchester. I know we went up to Magdalene's, spent some time in Port Prosper, and now we've kind of skipped down to Caroline here. So I'll probably head back up into New Winchester, resupply, and then one of our quests is delivering a settler to Trader's Wood. I don't know where that is. Good. Which one is it? Port Avon lies to the southwest of New Winchester, while Magdalene's lies to the northeast. Okay. Well, we know where Magdalene's is. Southwest of New Winchester could be anywhere down here. So, in any event, let's set sail. Back into the high wilderness. Off we go. It was a lovely time with devils, but you could say that we ran with them. That's not true. Yes, the stunted grove. Mountainous rocks clad in jackets of frost rise about you. The passages are perilous. It's not that perilous, really. This is pretty bog standard stuff. I've seen much more perilous passages than this. The background that we chose for this character was a former Z captain, which means they would have been a captain of a ship during the time of Sunless Sea, before London was flung into space. So they are well versed in madness-inducing trips among the unknown. Oh, that's just leading us back up there. Let's go a different way. We got lots of supplies, lots of fuel. Let's get funky. The engine's headlights glow like a ghost upon the icy mists. I do believe the further out you get from the center, the more dangerous the enemies become. But it also depends on what region you're in. There are multiple different regions. This is the Reach, which I believe is the biggest. Might even be able to see them actually. Yeah, so this is the Reach, and then there's also Eleutheria, the Blue Kingdom, which is tiny. Then there's Albion, that's where London is. And yeah, so there's 4 different regions of the map. So it's actually a surprisingly big game, and everything is randomized. Well, not everything, but all the locations of everything are randomized. As for what is in which region, that pretty much always stays the same. Okay, let's see. That'll probably just take us right up to New Winchester, so we might as well just head back. I know last time I didn't really talk all that much about terror. It hasn't really come up all that much yet. But the longer you stay out of port, the more your terror will increase. As such. Clamor of New Winchester can be heard on the wind, familiar as a disagreeable uncle. What's this? Ow. Thought I could go under that, but I guess not. We are back in New Winchester. We are home. Back in Wolvesey Station. A scrubbed clerk begs a moment of our time. I represent Halliges, the banking house. I promise this will only take a moment of your unquestionably valuable time. Produces a full contract with a flourish. We hear promising things about you, Captain. Very promising indeed. We'd like to extend our services. Provide a secure solution for the storage of your assets. Absolute discretion and steadfastness unto death and beyond. We require only a signature. The offer is entirely complimentary. I assure you at Halliges we measure ourselves by the quality of our clientele. I am certain that this represents the beginning of a long and warm relationship between ourselves and your lineage. May it endure. I bid you good day. Alright, so basically we have a legacy vault now, so we can put things into our bank vault, and then should this captain die, future captains can then access this vault and take items out of it, which is handy. We haven't really lost anything. How much? 30 sovereigns, 13 hull. Let's do that. I don't want to waste the sovereigns to unnecessary repairs if need be. Let's see. Go to Abraham's Engineering. It is here that we will be able to buy. Oh, geez, we can't even afford any. All this stuff is very expensive. Jeez. Okay. Never mind. But we should, because we've picked up some carefully packed crates of munitions that we're not really using. We also have seeds for Magdalene. Maybe in the bazaar. Oh, hang on. The parsimonious chairman of the Windward Company is looking to outfit a dozen of our engines with the appropriate precautions. He requires guns in satisfactory quantities. Deliver up to 3 carefully packed crates of munitions to Port Prosper. Let's do it. We've already got 2 of them. Okay, well, never mind about selling those, I suppose. But where do we buy more, is the question. Where is... Oh, I don't think it's on there. I think it is... I don't remember where it shows it. But in any event. Oh, right. We recommended that the incautious drivers see a doctor the last time we talked to them, so it only makes sense that we bring them to their family doctor now that we're back in New Winchester. So a silver plaque on the door bearing only a name indicates this is the address of New Winchester's most exclusive practice. While the doctor conducts her examination, the driver asks you to update their old records with their current employment. You take a moment's pleasure in the driver's ridiculous middle name and pass over the field on gender, straightforwardly crossed out. Their address was last an eyebrow-raising, prestigious New Winchester townhouse. You amend it to the name of your locomotive. Ah, the doctor says, peering into the driver's ear. A case of verdancy, a fungal colonization of the brain, not uncommon in the Reach. You've noticed uncharacteristic impulses, changes in behavior. She eyes the driver's sky suit and scars. The driver nods. Yes, the spores root deeply in the brain. Attempts to extract them have had less than satisfactory results. I'm afraid the best prescription is to entertain them. Take them where they want to go. See the things they want to see. Typically, a little travel does the job. They'll soon lose interest. Alright, so apparently our driver has a fungal infection in their brain that is telling them to do things. Terrifying. Now, we have been collecting several port reports. So there are two places we can turn them in. There's Victory Hall. And there's the company house. So let's see what the company house has to offer. The local headquarters of the Windward Company, London's proxy in the Reach. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the company's favor. So let's visit the Windward Company. Following the uprising, the fortunes of the Windward Company fell in New Winchester. Now their modest offices occupy an ex-tinning factory in the murkier recesses of town. It continues to smell faintly of beans. Alright, so the office's general manager lives in perpetual fear of his secretary, who was appointed directly from the London office. The references were inarguable. So we can return our port reports to the prudent secretary. We have 3. We can chat with the prudent secretary, and then there's other stuff that we can unlock later. So let's chat. The secretary's gender is the subject of some debate in the company canteen. The secretary's prudence, however, is not. Both these facts provide the secretary with a great degree of satisfaction. I would be interested to receive reports on events in other ports, however small. The company has expansive interests. One never knows what might be important. Alright, so before we do that, let's leave the company house. Let's go check out Victory Hall and see who that is and who we might be able to turn our reports into. That person seems a little bit sketchy. An assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers colloquially called Tackities, gather and argue here, deliver port reports here to receive rewards, and win the Tackities' favor. So raised in the wake of the blockade of New Winchester, this magnificence of glass and steel houses the colonial assembly. Here, representatives of the independent ports of the Reach gather and quarrel. Let's chat with the indurate veteran. She's taking a moment in the atrium, watching the stars burn coldly in the mist. Her skin is brown and her hair is beginning to gray. She wears a heavy, unbuttoned coat. Metals gleam in the shadows behind its lapels. One half of her face is scarred from frostbite. She is enjoying a quiet cigarillo, while her peers argue in the chamber of assembly. You talk for a while about life in the skies. When her cigarillo is just a stub, she says, "I'd be grateful to hear reports of your travels, Captain. I suspect all manner of strife and imprudence is going to kick off in the foreseeable. I mean to be ready for it." Alright, so not to say that we can't play both sides, but we basically have to decide who we're going to be delivering our port reports to. Either I can't remember the name of the faction now, but the establishment, who are kind of the people in charge of London, or here in Victory Hall. We give them to this veteran, and she will. They kind of represent the independent ports here in the Reach. Which, I mean, I'm already kind of leaning toward Victory Hall because I'm pretty sure I did that last time. Also, depending on who you give your port reports to, that faction will start to gain more influence in the Reach and more power. So whoever you kind of side with is going to start gaining more power. So yeah, and again, like, you can play both sides and just kind of swap between them. It's kind of just a balancing act, so to speak. But for now, I think I'm going to give our port reports to the indirect veteran. Her tireless exertions during the blockade earned her both a seat on the Assembly and enemies in London. She likes to keep abreast of events. Well, I have some events for you. Here's some port reports. For that advice. She listens with a scowl. Well, I'd rather know than not, I suppose, and thank you for bringing this to me. Rather than the bloody stovepipes. I'll arrange a gratuity. I don't know why that is censored, so to speak. That's a little weird. So, yeah, so we've lost influence with the stovepipes, but we've gained influence with the Tackities. So those are the two factions, Tackities and stovepipes. And we have gained 300 sovereigns. So port reports are worth quite a lot of money. So there's a few things that we can do here now. We can trade some of our favor for a savage secret. Trade for an otherworldly artifact. It's customary for representatives to bring gifts from their territories, examples of local craftsmanship, mysterious finds, untangled from the knotty roots of the Reach. The peculiarities are added to the overflowing cabinets of the Ward Griffiths archive. I'm going to... So this will cost 2 of our favor with them. But I think I'm going to get a savage secret, because those are good to have. She leans close before she speaks. Her voice is low and laden with tobacco. She shares what she knows of several motions that have not yet reached the assembly floor. Some would make changes to laws that is helpful to know about in advance. Alright, so we have a... There are no shops here. So we have a savage secret. The Tackities have gained some influence. I'll head back down to New Winchester and spend some of this money that we got. Alright, so one of the things that we can definitely afford... 503. I don't want to spend all of it because I'd like to get some more fuel. So, one of the things I would like to get is either a canning station or a mining array. I think I'm going to go with the... you gain... There's less opportunities to use the mining array, but it can give you rarer items. The canning station will allow you to make supplies out of various things in the Reach, which might end up actually saving us more money in the long run, so... yeah, let's do it. Get us a canning station. We'll go to the market, buy a fuel. Still pretty good on supplies. Alright, so I guess southwest of New Winchester is where we're into the unknown. We'll see what we can see. Scamps in there. That is a tackety scout. A little bit of a hitch there. Tackities. Some of the locations that aren't really anything, just kind of points of reference to get you experience, so there's no reason not to discover them as you pass by. Unless you're desperately low on supplies or fuel. Distant nebula shines on in this place. Its light is mellow as melted butter. Ruins claw the sky, the work of giants. Port Avon. Behold, a ruin of giants. Gargantuan blocks jigsawed together, furred with moss and whispering with orchards. The bucolic village nestles amongst them. Smoke coils daintily from the chimneys. A leisurely game of cricket unfolds on the village green. A ramshackle dock juts into the sky beside a farmyard scattered with rusty locomotive parts, plating, piping, and chugging motor with its innards exposed. An oily-faced, black-haired girl waves you into the locomotive, into position. Welcome to Port Avon, she calls. As you disembark, a rich nod of scent greets you. Leaves and wood smoke, enriched by an infrequent but pungent intrusion of goat. Our Port Avon welcome is now free. So Port Avon welcomes new visitors, but your novelty will wear off the more time you spend there. When you visit in the future, you may need to bring something to keep them friendly. Did I need to be here? Yes. I need 3 sacks of verdant seeds from the bazaar in Port Avon. So first things first, write a port report. Were it not for talk of smugglers and sky beasts, you could easily confuse this place for a village on the world you left behind. It's quite peaceful here, apart from some fuss over a newspaper delivery. The villagers frown and change the subject when you ask about it. So if we share exotic gossip, that will increase our welcome at Port Avon. Yeah, there's a bunch of places to go here. But first things first, we need 3 sacks of verdant seeds for 75 sovereigns. Wait. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's what we were getting. I forgot that. I thought that was an item that we had, but no, that is just the bargain that we have equipped right now. We can have 4 of them. So that is the one that we need. And then we've got our munitions one here as well. So we are good there. I don't have any more. Let's go to the village green. A golden nebula scintillates above Port Avon's apple trees, allotments, eel fishers, and steepled church. Here you may, if you choose, immerse yourself in the village's quaint rhythms. The auroral sommelier. Someone has grafted brass wheels to the carcass of an old armoire and impaled its top with a jaunty damasked umbrella. Or the village green. The heart of the village, surrounded by orchards of real apple trees that were shipped through the avid horizons of the sea. Let's check this out. So a man stands behind it, flesh and finery, the colors of the dawn, shepherding customers through their sampling of wines. Sweet wine, sour wine, subtle wines, and sinful, spirits of every vintage, save, of course, the Hesperidian cider. He gives a small, sad laugh. I know, because I looked. This is the only place with real apples, but even here the cider eludes me. He beckons you with a gloved hand. Ah. The Hesperidian cider is a rare vintage, unheard of and unseen since London. This merits investigation. Closer, closer, come listen. Come here, come close and listen, you effervescent thing. I have a story. An associate of mine, he once gave me a sip of it. One golden drop to place under my tongue, and my life was changed. A carnivorous pleasure steeps in his voice as he speaks. I went back to the store immediately, of course, but the price was too much. And then, eventually, the dreams drained away, and now I am here, serving wine to drunks. His laughter is black and bitter, but the auroral sommelier gives you the address nonetheless, just in case. If you decide to risk the same grief, savor it for me. So in London, we can purchase the Hesperidian cider. Let's go... Before we go to the village green, let's go to the Cyclopean ruins. What palace was this? What giant king made his home here? And why did he abandon the vast stores of souls that the locals still quarry from beneath the stones? Perhaps you might risk a furtive excavation of your own. Not one of the looming stones is quite square, yet they all slot together immaculately. Oof, that's not great. That is also not great. Let's not do an excavation in the ruins. Botheridge's A Tour of Heaven describes Port Avon's single public house as a welcome respite, justly framed for its authentic old earth cider. The locals can be welcoming for a while. You may be able to recruit more crew here. Let's go to the Nowhere Inn. Port Avon's first public house stands amidst a nodding copse of apple trees. Inside, brass gleams cozily on the beams, window latches, doorknobs, and other fittings retrieved from the first locomotives that carried people here. A great polished wheel hangs on one wall. Boy, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We can read a work of speculative fiction, appreciate an amount of cider, which requires a skill check, and 2 sovereigns. Speak to a short-sighted cryptozoologist. She perches on a stool in the corner, staring at a map of the Reach. I could have... No, must have taken a wrong connection at New Winchester. We can intercede in a mushroomy matter. The pub is out of scrumpy. The barman blames a creature, a cross between a mushroom and a jellyfish. It sways in its seat at the bar. Or we can head upstairs. Let's intercede in a mushroomy matter. Who does this creature belong to? Bellows a man, fuchsia with rage. The Blemmingen he points at is a grizzled member of its species, most of whom were left behind in the Neath. The fuchsia gentleman roars in fury. Between bellows, the truth emerges. The Blemmingen is no one's pet, and far worse, no one will admit responsibility for its tab. The Blemmingen is unconcerned with the tumult. It nods its cap at you with a grim respect, then flops its tendril into a mug of stout. It stares bleakly through the window. We do not have enough money to settle its bar tabs, so I guess we'll have to just leave it be. The creature does emit a rather aptly aroma. It must have consumed an orchard's worth of scrumpy. It would be unduly charitable to pay its bar tab. The Blemmingen drinks are in while squabbles continue above it. This is, of course, a problem for someone else. You can always drink cider. Let's talk to the cryptozoologist. A tiny figure weighed down by 2 backpacks and a heavy duffel coat looks through thick glasses at her map and then up at you. Excuse me, I need passage. I don't suppose you could help me. I'm on the trail of unusual beasts. I could pay for your time. Where does she need to go? Traitor's Wood, beams the short-sighted cryptozoologist. She leans in conspiratorially. As it turns out, to the wrong person. They say there's all sorts living in that place. And, oh, sorry. She turns to you. There's all sorts living in that place. Possibly even an ape-man. Won't it be fun to find out? The short-sighted cryptozoologist almost boarded someone else's locomotive. A kindly stoker guided her to the right way and onto yours. Alright, so we've got to take her to Traitor's Wood, which is perfect. Let's appreciate an amount of cider. Oh, we failed. It tastes of golden sun and the fields left behind. Another. You must have another. The second tastes even better. The third, well, you don't remember the third one very well. Perhaps in addition there was a fourth and a fifth. You awake beneath one of the trees in the orchard, its hard bark against your cheek. You dimly remember singing something inappropriate, and dark looks from the other patrons. Perhaps you remember climbing on a table, but to what end? Goodness, the stars are very bright, aren't they? Oh, very bright indeed. Like bright little needles. Ouch. We are wearing out our welcome. Okay, so that was... Let's go to the village green now, before we completely wear out our welcome. Let's attend a service at the church. It's a small church with whitewashed walls. From within you hear the slow drone of a Sunday sermon. The congregation is a mix of attentive locals sitting primly at the front, and visitors perched at the back. The accordionist coaxes them into an attempt at the Judge Eternal throned in splendor. We now have a sky story. So we are no longer welcome in Port Avon because we have done too many things here. The stares of locals have grown sullen. They won't even give you the time of day anymore. So if we go back to the dock, we can replenish our welcome if we share a gossip or if we have a tea party. But we don't really have anything else to do here, so... But for now, there is a repentant devil looking for passage. But he requires 100 sovereigns, of which we have 4. So, I guess that'll have to wait. Goodbye, Port Avon. So, we have Port Avon. So we've got to deliver these seeds to Magdalene's, I do believe. That was this one. 3 sacks of verdant seeds. Yeah. So, to get there, we could just head back up to New Winchester and then kind of bounce up to New Magdalene's, but I think I'm going to kind of take a bit of a roundabout way. We're pretty good on supplies, so I'm not that concerned. And we'll be able to see more new stuff along the way. As long as the paths aren't too treacherous or long and winding, then we should be fine. If need be, we can always stop by New Winchester to resupply. Although we don't have any money. No, I guess we did get a port report from Port Avon, so we can go there. That the towns and cities in this game always come across as very small because you can only actually interact with them in a very small area, but I'm pretty sure like New Winchester is actually a very large section of the map. You're probably going to have to take a detour around. So now we're just on the other side of the company house, where the stovepipes make their home. I'm hoping there's something up here. I'm hoping that I didn't just waste my time. Seems like the sort of game I wish I had the patience for. It is a slow burn. Like, the thing that I like about doing it on stream is that it forces me to actually like sit and read through things and like actually take in all the lore. This corner of this guy's a little traveling. He's been given over to the fungus for a while. It's never lost. I know the last time I played this game on my own, I kind of rushed through a lot of the dialogue and stuff to kind of get to what I was trying to do. So I do appreciate streaming it because then I can take my time and actually appreciate it a little bit more. Not to say I didn't appreciate it, but take it in a little slower. The way that you're supposed to with any of the Fallen London games, really. They are all meant to be very story, narrative heavy. Boy, there just isn't much of anything up here, is there? That's not promising. We might have to go up and around. Onward. We also haven't really come across anything all that dangerous. We did have a fight last time with a fairly strong bandit. Oh, speak of the devil, this might be one here. Nope. He has disappeared. I want to see if he comes back. That is a bandit marauder. Marauder. That was close. Yeah, we would have been fine. Get out of here. Alright, let's get this loot. So we approach the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. Our hull is in pretty good shape, so let's go loot the hold. Oh, stamped and carefully sealed. It is a heavy crate, heavy as a dead man's weight. It takes a wrench and your strongest stoker to lever off the lid. When at last the crate opens with a heavy thud, your crew gasp. Inside, the lustrous saltine crystals of ground ores, mined and refined for commercial use. This is the final product of London's greatest and most precious enterprise. We now have a barrel of unseasoned hours. Which, okay, we didn't have one before. I thought we had one already. But... And we gained a level. So, we get a moment of reflection. So we get to choose from all of our previous moments of reflection, along with some new ones. And each one will give us different stats. So, I know Scarred, Spell, Imprison, and Scandal were definitely here before. I think the Smoggy Streets and August Avenues might have been too. I think a Lost Love was there too. But we'd be haunted, plagued by the past, with some guilt or sin or ordeal that will not let you rest. What is the nature of the haunting? Promise of days. Worst things happen at Z. And the thief oath. Maybe Smoggy Streets wasn't here. I don't remember this one. Spent much of your youth in the hard end of London, where the gas lamps are scarce, the prospects bleak, and the people as flinty as the cobbles. I guess we could probably increase our mirrors, because there's a whole bunch of skill checks that we basically couldn't do because they were too low. So I definitely wouldn't mind having some more mirrors under my belt. Looks like the only main one here is August Avenues. You spent your youth in stuffy sitting rooms and chandeliered parlors. Hush, and you can still hear the delicate sounds of silver spoons and china cups. You were not ungrateful, but your life was hedged by bounds of civility and expectations. You had to disobey sometimes to discover who you were. When you had to rebel, how did you do it? Openly and frequently. A cage is a cage, whether it's gilded or not. You were punished, of course, but it didn't stop you. Yeah. Alright, so now we've got 20 mirrors, and our iron is up to 35 now. So we're growing stronger by the day. Hello, Mike. It's good to see you. Ooh, the wreckage. The Vetus Varnus. It's a wreck. Have a good night, Mike. Enter through the yawning tear in the hull. Ugh, 33% chance. Mourn the dead. A simple ceremony. Doffed caps, a few words, a gloomy silence, but it helps. The only decency in the sky is that which we bring ourselves. Our terror is falling. What? Why did that hurt so much? Now, if we had bought a mine, or the drill, we would be able to mine into the rock. But, alas, chose the cannon tools. Which, you just watch, I'm not going to end up, like, needing it all. There we go. Send my bat. Let's see what my bat has to say. Oh, there's something unknown right next to Megarins. Oh, that's good. Let's investigate. That just kind of looks like a dead end. I want to see what's in here. Is it? Ah, that's a passage. Getting a little low on supplies and fuel. That's okay. Finally, Magdalene's hot bath and decent conversation. The princess desires that you talk. But first... Hey, that fully repaired our hull. Perfect. Alright, princess. Let's go to Magdalene's. So our prospect here is for the seeds, so yeah, let's go ahead and sell these verdant seeds. Make a profit of wow, a lot of money. So we got 240 sovereigns just for selling the seeds here. And then we get another 100 sovereigns for completing the trading opportunity mission. The amenable host smiles. Just what we needed. Although I must admit, I do miss roses and lilies and bluebells. Still, these celestial blooms have their own virtues. Some of them weep, you know. He pays you a generous gratuity. Then we do have this bargain. Oh, they're selling chorister nectar, which I need somewhere. I don't have that prospect anymore. I could swear that they needed chorister network or nectar in one of the other ports, but I don't remember how much. It's also very expensive, so I'm not gonna bother. I'm going to buy some supplies though. We can return to the House of Small Comfort. Treat our nightmares. We don't have any. Treat our terror, which is still pretty low. Let's go to the keepsake market. An illicit stall has been set up near the port, where the doctors and nurses of Magdalene sell off the property of captains in their care who require extensive stays. The practice is not encouraged, but the amenable host usually turns a blind eye. Purchase an otherworldly artifact. For 60 sovereigns. Recruit crew, or while away the time with other captains. Oh, this will reduce a significant amount of terror. We don't really need that. Let's buy us an artifact. The nurses hand over your new purchase, warning you not to tell anyone where you found it. They add that there will likely be more offers like this very soon. You now have an otherworldly artifact. What will that get us? I don't know yet, but we'll wait and see. Okay, so we've been to the House of Small Comfort before. We can write a port report again, because it's been enough time since the last time that we can do it again. It's basically just kind of like you writing current events and keeping up with things, so we'll do that. We can talk to the amenable host, but we also have a new thing here, which is speak with a watcher by the station. He stares at your crew as they disembark your engine. He turns away when none emerge holding anything. He's clearly agitated. Sorry, the man apologizes. I didn't mean to stare. It's just, we've been waiting for a delivery from London. Really important supplies. I don't suppose you might be heading anywhere near the relay to Albion, would you? If you could check if anything's happened to it, we'd really appreciate it. We have been to the Albion Transit Relay before. So we can definitely do that. Let's see if the amenable host has anything else for us. Let's hear his request. I admired your discretion earlier, he sighs. You have seen the dangers of our work upon those who abuse our service, yet we are not immune to it ourselves. He draws your attention to several paintings on the walls. My regulars have, at various points, requested that I be a prospector on mustering, heir to a fine house in Port Prosper and a titan of industry on New Winchester. Very specific requests, and more I have vivid memories of being all three. Yet all cannot be true, surely. He presses a locket into your hand. This bears my image. See if anyone remembers me. I can't remember who I was before this. If I could be other than I am, I would like to know. So the amenable host wishes us to recover his identity. Travel to any of Lustrum, New Winchester, and Port Prosper to begin. Fascinating. So we seem to be pretty good otherwise. I actually need to feed my cats more than anything. So I'm going to take a quick ad break and just a quick little 60-second ad break. I'm going to run and feed my cats, grab some water, and I will be right back. We'll return to more Sunless Skies in just a moment. Alright. Back again. Let us resume. So, we've got a few things that we can do. We do need to go back to Port Prosper to... there's a few things. Oh, that's what the quest was. In Port Prosper, they're building a new clock tower. They'll pay for a delivery of bronzewood and chorister nectar. But how much? Was it just one of each? Ooh. Maybe I should buy some while I'm here. Yeah, screw it. I'll buy one. Then... So we do have some things to do in Port Prosper, so we could head back down that way. This is the part of the game where you you have an idea of where things are, and a lot of the times locations will be kind of like bouncing off of each other, so you spend a lot of time going back and forth between familiar locations without exploring a whole bunch. But we do kind of need some money. I'm going to head down to Port Prosper. Maybe I'll take a different direction. Maybe I'll go kind of in there a little more. Or go... Yeah, we'll do a little bit of exploration just to see. Hopefully we don't run out of supplies. But I think we'll be fine. I think the last time we were here. Oh, hey, I know what we can do. Ooh, that was close. Thankfully, these things are very easy to predict. These things are a lot easier to kill. If I can hit them, which I can. Alright, never mind. Nobody wants to play with me. Oh, supplies. Oh. I would have preferred supplies. Oh well. So. This is new. The war fossils. When settlers arrived in the Reach, miners flocked to this frozen rock, lured by the promise of hours stored in its core. An eruption of cantankerity has left it in its current mangled state. A makeshift graveyard stands at the lip of the rock, a memorial and a warning. Pay respects, mine for unclaimed hours, or just leave. We've got really low terror, so honestly, I'm just going to risk it. Let's pay our respects and light lanterns. Lanterns doused by the sleep mark of ramshackle graves. Relighting them would commemorate the dead, but might disturb any cantankerity that still slumber here. Once every grave had a lantern. Now most are lost or stolen. Your crews search through drifts of muddy sleep and beneath mangled mining wreckage to replace what they can. In the dim light, your stokers struggle with the tinder and oil. The cold is fierce and chills the fingers to the bone. Eventually, matches strike and the thin string of light washes over the graves. But you've lingered here too long. The ground begins to quake and the cantankerity stir. Fight our way back to the engine. God, I think I've succeeded on like one skill check this entire game so far. You give him hell. The air sizzles with the stink of burning cantankerity flesh, and you slip in the pools of churned up mud and cantankerity effluvia. Eventually, the last of the cantankerity slips back into the earth. The cheers are few. There will be more bodies for the graveyard. We have lost 3 crew. Let's see. That's officers. Status. I guess. It sounded like somebody else might have also left, but I think it was just the 3 crew that we lost. Unfortunately, not worth it. We didn't even get anything out of that. Oh well. And again, if we had the mining drill, we'd be able to get into there and see what's in there, but I have to be silly and get the old cannon upgrade. Oh well. We've reached Port Prosper with very little problems. I'm not going to dock there just yet. I want to go check out the Albion Gate. One of our quests was to check on the Albion Gate to see where that shipment from London was. So we are going to go take a look. The Albion Transit Relay. A stone edifice, scintillant with sigils, is encased in a contrivance of steel and brass. This is a Sing-Jerkins relay, allowing transport via a loophole in some cosmic mandate across the sunless wastes to a far-flung district of heaven. This one leads to Albion, the heart of the new British Empire and the seat of her renewed majesty, Queen Victoria. Let's check on the delayed package. Turns out that the previous courier was detained for having the wrong paperwork. Fortunately, the goods were impounded on his side of the relay. The board customs official is glad to clear some space in their cramped office. As long as you don't want to travel between regions without the appropriate paperwork, they couldn't care much less about cargo. This package has been serving double duty as a card table for the last week, but now it's yours, and the people of Magdalene will be glad to receive it. We cannot travel anywhere else because we either don't have the money or we need permits, so let's just stay here. We don't really have any need. I guess we do have some quests to go to London, but that will be a future endeavor. Because London is scary. It's going to require a lot of supplies. Or rather, Albion is scary. Greatly reduce our terror, provided at least 15 days have passed since your last visit. Explore Port Prosper, because we can write a port report. Get those dollars. Alright, so the amenable host wants us to find out who he is, so let's ask around. Not a soul in Port Prosper recognizes the locket. Who's that then? Does he still wear his hair like that? Fancy. Became familiar refrains. More promising is the house you saw painted in the amenable host's chamber. You locate several candidates, all apparently repainted over the last couple of years, but one is in the exact location as in the host's painting. Nobody seems to remember who owned it or why, but apparently it had once been associated with the Park of Virtue, established not long after Port Prosper's foundation. So we have found no conclusive evidence that the amenable host's identity of Port Prosper. Alas. Okay, so yeah. So to deliver the materials for the clock tower, we still need a bronze wood, which we would get from Trader's Wood, I believe, which we have not found yet. We don't even know where it is. We have no idea where Trader's Wood is. So it's going to take some exploration to find that one. But that's okay. Ugh, supplies are expensive. I'm just going back to Magdalene's house. Sure. Personally, as chairman of the Windward Company, is looking to outfit a dozen more engines with the appropriate precautions. He requires guns and satisfactory. Pending prospects. Supply 3 more. Okay, so we have 2. Which we could sell now and get a profit from, and then bring the other 3, or the third one once we get it. Gang of grubby urchins are selling stained glass. Nah. There we go. I guess let's take part in the Lamas Fair again. We did that last time. All the sights and sounds of a day in the fair at London. Genuine rubbery lumps sold by the cartful. Icons of mayors past, from Dick Whittington to Sinning Jenny, line the streets. Ferris wheel offers paying customers a chance to survey the heights of Port Prosper. So I know last time we delved into the side stalls. Beware the inadvisably big dog. Well, I want it. 30% chance of success. I want the big dog. Yes. A dog of colossal proportions, golden as a lick of pale nectar, comes stampeding through the stalls, crashing into displays, tripping bystanders. Menace in the body of a long-tailed, velvet-nosed stuffed toy. You move into the canine's trajectory, arms spread wide. The dog takes it as an invitation to pounce, bowling you over and subsequently half drowning you in slaughter. The locals are only too happy for you to lead the animal away, especially after they discover that no one knows who he belongs to, where he came from, and why they've tolerated him for so long. Oh, an occurrence. My inadvisably big dog quality is now 1. Success. So apparently the inadvisably big dog is now our mascot. He's huge. He is enthusiastic. He's hairy. He wants very badly to help. Let's stick to the main stalls. Several acquaintances catch up with you by the bridge and you promenade together, taking in the sights and sounds of the main stalls. While avoiding the smells from the side streets, you patronize the hoopla and the apple bobbing, though of course you do not take part yourself. And win several stuffed mushrooms from the racing chorister bee stall. The barker behind the tent leers at you. He's seen you before. Cheers go up from the hostess height, where a team of patriotic mountaineers have scaled the cliff and unveiled the Union Jack. We've already got settlers on our train, so I think I'm just going to... I do want to talk to our dog, though. Our inadvisably big dog. Look at him. He's huge. It stares at you, drooling with love. When you meet its gaze, its vast tail wags, dusting your wash things from the sink onto the floor. Who's a good dog? If goodness requires that things are not destroyed in a creature's wake, this dog is probably not a good dog. Nevertheless, merely asking the question causes it to ascend into a riot of joy. Your slippers will never be the same again, but it's a rare sight to see something in the high wilderness so innocently happy. I love him. I love him so much. I love this dog. We haven't talked to the chief engineer in a little bit. So, yeah, we found out that the chief engineer has fungus in their ear, or in their brain, rather, and it tells them where, it gives them suggestions. So let's listen to what their suggestions are. The driver blinks. Can't keep anything from you, I see. I've been feeling a bit on edge. Would like to make myself useful if I can. There's races at the Royal Society. Maybe we could go there and you could drop me off for a bit. Could make us both a bit of money. Okay, we have talked to them about that before. Let's see. Converse with them. The incautious driver paces back and forth, clicking their tongue. Must have been the crash in the nature reserve. My father sent me there to take up a nice quiet job. I always did love botany. When they pulled me from the wreckage, I had new dreams to follow. I thought they were mine. Now, how can I be sure? A new resolve washes over their face when they turn back, eyes sharp and sparkling with a flicker of emerald. Either way, I know where I have to go. Old Tom's Well. Give me the wheel, Captain. I have an appointment to keep. The well lies to the northwest of New Winchester. Ah, fascinating. Let's talk to the princess. Oh, she has a suggestion. We should go to London. I've always wanted to open a salon. My sister has one, so I should too. Her gaze is unblinking, but she does not press the issue further. Let's talk to the princess. For a change, she says with a smile. After all, I am a princess. The ambition of any princess, worthy of the name, is not to remain so. Alright. Oh. I forgot to recruit crew. Leave it be. know if I can actually get more crew from here. For transport to settlers. Yeah, we already have a settler. The Windward Company. Join the celebrations. We lost our reputation with Tackities. Clock tower. So I guess there is no crew here for us to recruit, which kind of sucks. So we are running a bit low now. But if we bring this shipment back to Magdalene's, then we should be able to get some good money from it. Maybe we can recruit some people from here too. I'll sneak through here to explore this little section. I think the Tackities and Stovepipes are fighting over here somewhere. I can hear the gunshots. Is it you? Maybe? Hard to tell. Ooh, wreckage. Wreckage of the bookworm. The wreckage gleams with frost. 33% chance. I don't like that. We might lose crew if we end up doing that too, so more in the dead. I like that the little, like, parts from these things have physics, so you can push them around. No, don't want to go that way. The game is very simplistic in its actual gameplay. Like, everything is, top down and very narratively based. Oh, someone's upset. But like, even the combat is very simplistic. But there's still a very good sense of like weight to everything. Like there's really good sense of like momentum when you get going. And there's kind of like physics sometimes. It's hard to explain, but it feels really good. Like it feels very, very nice to play. 100% chance of success because we're so tough. So let's go into the captain's cabin. Heck yes. Cabin door did not survive the onset of our guns, nor did the captain. You have to tread carefully. The carpet will not be saved. A few scorched documents sit on the bronzewood desk. They make for interesting reading. Apparently London had need of a few brave captains willing to bring fire to the Tackities. You would not have expected the signatories of the orders. We have salon stewed gossip. Or rather, even more salon stewed gossip, because we already had some. supplies. Or something. Oh, that was an actual item. A caddy of dried tea. Perfect. Fighting the stovepipes. Not gonna get involved. Earl Grey hot. I'm here for one thing and one thing only, and that is to deliver this package, whatever it is. Magdalen's house of small comfort. Deliver the previously impounded goods. A nurse from Magdalen's opens up the crate and breathes a sigh of relief. Finally, our prisoner's honey. We were almost out. I can't thank you enough, but I can pay you for your troubles. $200. What do we have here? Supplies. I'm gonna buy some supplies while I'm here. I'll get one. A furtive sale of less markets. Oh. A doleful fence lifts the corner of the tarpaulin to show you the wares underneath. Davy's dusty in tones like a vicar at a funeral. Chivs, irons, barkers, bulldogs with 6 teeth. You translate his criminal argot into plain English. Gunpowder, knives, guns, guns, guns. That is what we needed. Oh, and because we have an affiliation with villainy, we can actually buy these. So we actually needed to deliver that to Port Prosper. Would have been nice to have known that earlier, but oh well. I'm sure we'll go back to Port Prosper eventually. Right now I'll probably go somewhere else. Trio of guests is going in together, all dark-haired and straight-backed. Yes, I know it's not the real thing, but I'd like a sense of closure, the tall woman says. What rot, barks the short woman next to her. You want to argue over the will again. I've told you once I'm not giving up the spoons based on a charlatan say-so. Do be quiet, please, the one man says. I, for one, am more than happy to hear again why I was lumbered with the third best wardrobe. Let's talk to the patients being discharged. Some leave smiling, others weeping. No one can resist looking back behind them, even for just a peek. I want crew members. We still don't have an answer for what his identity is, and I guess they don't do crew members here, unfortunately. So we'll take a little detour through this kind of open section here, I guess back down to New Winchester for the time being, and then maybe head northwest, see if we can find anything. Mainly we're looking for Trader's Wood, which, for those who weren't here last time, the way that the game works is all of the locations in a particular region are always the same. So like New Winchester is always at the center, but as to where the location of pretty much everything else is changes game to game. It's always random. I think. I might be wrong, because I seem to remember Port Prosper and Magdalen's being near each other like this, but maybe I'm wrong. It has been a while since I played. So every time you play the game, you're basically exploring the map all over again to find the same locations, which... Yeah, I know that's how Sunless Seas work. I haven't played enough of Sunless Guys to know for sure how random it is. So it is a little bit annoying having to, like, if you know where you need to go, but you don't know where it is. But it also adds to the whole
some
exploration
adventure!
Indeed, thank you for following. Some adventure at last. Thanks, man. Some good combat in this time. This guy's impressive. Loot the hold. Loot the hold. Clasp jewelry box. Twinkle of gold upon a bed of velvet. A piece of worn jewelry. A name is inscribed on it. Too faded now to read. We got 13 bucks. I almost would have preferred to take the hull repair at that point, but oh well. Oh hey. Another wreckage, the Jackson's dog. Boy, we really need to get our veils higher, don't we? Dang it. Oof. As you clamber through the hole, your lamps reveal uncanny marks around it. Were they caused by ricocheting shrapnel, or by vast teeth? Your boarding party's search is unsurprisingly hurried. They retrieve only handfuls of valuables before the hull's groans encourage them to return to your vessel. Not all of them make it. The wreck buckles with a shriek that might have issued from the throat of hell and spins apart. So we got a whole bunch of terror, some money. Oh, we got a tale of terror, so that's kind of nice, but we also lost 2 crew. Oh, and there's marauders here too. Come on. 3 out of 10 crew is not good. Yeah, we're really close to New Winchester though, so I'm not too concerned. Go right into that one. Again. There, jeez. A thing in the mist. A sudden jolt. I think we hit something, Captain, your driver observes. The mists are thick. You can turn back and search for it. Oh boy. Alright. So we can double back. It would use up fuel. There might be danger, but perhaps whatever hit you is valuable. Or perhaps it needs help. Offer whatever it was to the burrower below. The burrower once tunneled path through the sky. He is always hungry. Reduce terror by 50, but increase nightmares. Offer whatever it was to the waste waif. The waste waif occupies abandoned places. It is lonely, but spurns company. It likes toys. Or offer whatever it was to the storm that speaks. The storm that speaks rages in the night. It covets that which is past. So those are kind of like the gods that we have. I want to double back. We've got lots of fuel. %50 chance of success. Let's do it. Searching the mists, you discover a sinuous, many-winged creature of the skies, still stunned from its impact with your engine. Your crew tie and cage it. We now have a caged catch. Cool. Oh, jeez. Your crew, undermanned and overworked, are struggling. One of them has failed to thoroughly secure your cargo. When a boisterous wind rocks your engine, the straps snap, sending boxes and barrels careening perilously about the hold. Get our crew clear until the turbulence is passed, despite the damage to your supplies and cargo. Order the crew to secure the cargo. Abandon the hold. Crew members are more important at this point. Okay, thank God. So we lost one supply, whatever. We didn't have any jumbles of undistinguished souls or pain sustained blast, and our caged catch remains unchanged. Let's reach this marauder. Unlocked with this at 6 hull. Let's strip the engine for materials. Let's get out of here. Let's get the new Winchester. We need crew members badly. I like that we got like no random events the entire time, and then when we're down to 3 crew members is when we get all of them. Resupply a new Winchester. Get some of our crew back. And then head out into the great unknown. Hopefully discover something. Tattered poster by the station advertises the services of Mr. Menagerie, purveyor of fine scouts. You can buy scouts. An accompanying picture displays a tall, cloaked figure, slightly stooped, clutching an array of adorable little beasts close to its long chest. So, the scout that we have is the bat that we got at the very beginning of the game. Doesn't look like we can actually get anything else, but we can either get a star-smitten bat, an intrepid cavy, or a ratronaut. I want the ratronaut really bad. But we need fancy things for this, so we will have to acquire nothing, unfortunately. I think he moves from port to port, so we might run into him again a little bit later. Yeah, so now that he's left, we read the note that he left behind. We go to the Regent's Obelisk, where you have made into a gaudy amusement. I don't know where that is. Hire crew. Hire mini crew. 80 crew? Wait, hang on. Let's explore the city. We can go to the Promise of Days. No, that's not. I know sometimes you can get crew from, like, going to certain places, but I guess we'll have to just spend our money. Ugh. Well, we're back up to 7 crew, which is a lot better than 3. I'm alright with that. We don't really need repairs. Let's search for the amenable host's identity. The initial search is fruitless. People giggle at the antiquated fashion on display in the daguerreotype. I have no idea what that word is. The tilt of the jaw, the unfortunate arrangement of the hair, but the proprietor of the round table seems to recognize the face. Oh, yes, right sod he was. She holds the locket up to catch the falling starlight through a window. Wanted to open a factory here a few years back. Something went wrong, and there was a workers' revolt. Not been seen since. Nothing conclusive, but we're finding out. A response to a distress call. A group of concerned Tackities are looking for a Skyfaring captain to assist them in retrieving a missing friend. Captain, a broad-shouldered Tackety speaks from the group. A friend of ours. There are protests. An acquaintance of ours has sent a message from the Hybris. She needs transport back to New Winchester. He pauses for breath. Would you mind picking her up if you happen to go that way? She's a filmmaker. Goes by Madame Lumiere. She said she'd never return, so I have to assume she's taken ill. It'd be good to make sure she gets back safely. Hybris lies to the north-northwest of New Winchester. Don't really have much else going on. We got some more prospects here. Doubles of Carolyn. Experimenting with a new penance. 5 gourds of chorister nectar. Chorister nectar is really expensive, so I don't know if I'm going to do that one. 5 barrels of ours. We have a barrel of ours. To the Leadbeater and Stainrod Nature Reserve. LNS Nature Reserve lies to the west-northwest of New Winchester. Let's claim that one. Because ours aren't too difficult to pick up along the way. Usually. We are still far, far away from being able to afford to do anything. We don't. Yeah, we can't really afford anything else. So I guess up in there is some stuff. There's something to the northwest, north-northwest, and west-northwest. So there's there are things to find everywhere we go. But first, I'm going to turn in these port reports to the Tackities while I'm here. And deliver my port report. So we got some Tackity gratitude, 300 sovereigns. We have lost fortune with the stovepipes, which is fine. You get Savage Secret or another worldly artifact. Right now I know we have one of each. I'm just gonna leave it for now. Oh, I need supplies. Down to the last dregs of our supplies. Unlabeled tins and wormy biscuits. Just hold on, I'm going back. I'll get you guys some real food. Just hold on. Load up on fuel. Supplies. 160 bucks. Let's get out of here. See if we can find a new port. I'm hoping we can. I hope we can find Trader's Wood. So then I can wrap up that block. clock tower quest in Port Prosper. A cryptic stoker wants to hold a memorial service for the crew that have recently died in our service. Judging by his tattoos of a storm studded with mouths and his rattling collection of talismans, the ceremony is unlikely to be Christian. Pagan rites have no place here. Attend and deliver a eulogy yourself. Nah, we're not that well suited for eulogies, but we will approve and attend. The cryptic stoker has painted his face storm gray. His talismans rattle like distant thunder. He orders the windows opened to let the sky in, and proceeds to deliver his rites, a mishmash of Anglican practice, new sequence hymns, and nonsense. In his patchwork ceremony, he speaks of the inadequacy of the present, of the sanctity of the past, where the dead still live. He speaks of a storm that gathers lost voices to itself. The storm that speaks has noticed you. If that sounds ominous, it is very much supposed to. There is a fairly big Lovecraft inspiration to the Fallen London games, especially when it comes to the gods. They are very mysterious and foreboding, and yeah, it's unclear as to if there's any like good or evil gods. They're all just kind of just gods. They all have their own favor, and if you treat them right, then they will treat you right. Sunless Skies deals with a whole new pantheon of gods, as Sunless Sea does, as far as I know. They might actually be the same gods, but just with different names. I'm not 100% sure, but... or to this section of the map. Keep heading northwest. Bat. Let's see what you can find. I think. Stupid intro. Let's get out of here. I don't want to fight that guy. Back to listening to SCPs on YouTube. Yeah, SCPs are pretty good. Patience of Road, Temporal Spray. The princess glances at pole mirrors. I considered running away with them, but some refused to bathe. That. Wilson's Point. That is definitely a place. Well, there's... Our scout found something here, so let's take a look first. Van Zessen Waste. Oh no, the text. It's overlaid. I had a doll's house this size. Much prettier, of course. Oh, I can dock here? Oh. Homestead. Settlers who live so far beyond the edge of civilization relish the hardship of solitude. They will fiercely defend their small territories, but occasionally welcome company and trade. The homestead comprises several small buildings. The closest house is dilapidated. Holes in its roof have been badly patched. In front of it, a small group works the land with bows and rakes. Where's the workers? The farmers frown when you near and turn away. They have no interest in conversation, grumbling over the dry dirt. A child, sitting on the lowest step of a porch, calls you over. They won't talk to you. They're too busy. They're always too busy. She has been drawing with a stick in the dirt. She adds a spiral, digging deeply. The stick snaps. Do you want to hear a story? Ooh. Let's listen to this kid's story. She smiles coyly. She'll only tell you if you move close enough to hear a whisper. It's a true story. You aren't allowed to tell anyone else. You won't tell, will you? Of course you wouldn't. Only a monster would betray the confidence of a child. You listen closely. Wait, that can't be true, can it? We've gained a savage secret. Knew I should have bought that stupid drill upgrade. Haven't used the canning thing once, but... maybe I'll swap it out. I always wanted to go to a circus. Mother said no. Poor people. Disease. The driver looks forlorn. Oh boy. I think we found a circus. And Plenty Circus. Not one of the places I was looking for, but all right, we found a circus. A traveling circus is settled here, too afraid to go further and too afraid to turn back. Its clanking, gaudy locomotive scavenges such audiences as it can from nearby homesteads and delivers them for an evening of shabby, desperate, big-top magic. Recruit the amiable vagabond. Oh, I guess we can't. We need 2 Sky Stories to recruit him, but unfortunately. Oh, hey, I guess this is where Mr. Menagerie went. We still can't afford to get a new scout, so I'm not going to bother doing that. Let's go to the circus. The greatest show. That's what the adverts promise. The reality is not impressive. Aside from the big top that dominates the circus, the place is shabby, poorly maintained, and even more poorly attended. Bored-looking circus folk run rotting booths. The clowns' painted-on smiles are no match for the deep-set misery behind the grease paint. Even the Calliope music, playing on a run-down piano, is more grimly resolute than cheery. Report. Circus. The big top looms dramatically in the fog of the Reach, but it's not nearly as imposing as the massive obelisk floating nearby. Some enterprising soul has hung bunting between it and the big top. As for the circus itself, outside of the performers, it is practically deserted. You may be the first new face in the audience in quite a while. I got a bad feeling about this place. Recruit crew from the circus. 15% chance of success. That's not very good. Let's try to sneak it behind the tents. A pair of clowns whose painted-on smiles do not match their actual scowls spot you almost immediately. There is nothing funny about the heavy sticks they carry. You are less than politely escorted back to the big top. Perhaps if you were better known around here, they would be less concerned. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother trying to recruit because I don't know what kind of negative effect this is gonna have on me. So, $10. Let's purchase tickets to the circus. The urchin hands over your tickets with no apparent enthusiasm. Thanks, he mutters. Let's see. Let's go to the big top. The pride of the circus. No one in the meager audience displays any enthusiasm, not even when the ringmaster thunders in on a horse-drawn Calliope. Then come the acts themselves. Oh dear. The humiliated magician's trap's doors fail to open, leaving his glamorous assistant notably unvanished. The bereaved acrobat swings from a single trapeze. The other hangs lonely and unused. The pensive clown's fire juggling act ends in disaster, and not the humorous kind. The less said about the lion tamer, the better. Though he should recover. We gained a Sky Story, and our terror has fallen somehow. Let's visit the amusements. Most of the stalls here are empty, their owners either asleep or long since gone. You gamely make the most of them. From the Hall of Mirror, there is only one. To the Whack-A-Rat game, currently closed due to the rats having unionized. At least the day proves quiet, with nothing actively trying to kill you. In the high wilderness, that alone counts as a vacation. The circus staff are coming to recognize her face. Uh-oh. Let's try to sneak behind the tents now. No. Alright, so we can't get more tickets. I guess that's about all that we can do here for now. But we have 2 Sky Stories now, which means we can recruit the amiable vagabond. You find him waiting serenely at Gervais's rest, clay pipe clamped between his teeth. He claims to be an expert in snake wrangling, thimble twisting, and stick swinging. He professes to be a psychologist, mythologist, and escapologist. He boasts he can tell stories that'll haunt you until you die, and play tunes that'll make stones dance. And if all that fails to entice you, he supposes he could turn his hand to signaling. That is a signaler, who we do not have. Increase our hearts by 4, veils by 4, and affiliation Bohemia by 1. Let's do it. Welcome aboard, gentlemen. When you accept him aboard, he pulls a grimy bottle of something opaque and unidentifiable from his inner coat pocket and takes a long celebratory swig. I hope you're not having a second thoughts already, he says, and roars with laughter. He has no luggage to speak of, just a bindle over his shoulder and a fiddle in a battered leather case. Once he has slung both onto his bed, he heads into the alley and starts performing card tricks and telling ribald jokes at the crew. Most find him charming. Several make their apologies and abscond. Cool, we got another officer. Oh, we're just like straight up north of New Winchester. Okay, well, let's head a little bit west and see if we can find anything else. And then I suppose I will call it there once we can find a new port. Oh. The sky is wrong. This is not where you were meant to be. Was it a trick of the mists? Has the wind carried you astray? Have the heavens themselves turned on their axis? God, that eats up 2 fuel. Or push forward into stranger skies and hope that somewhere beyond you'll find familiar territories again. We're like right next to the circus. This isn't unfamiliar. Press on. And there goes my crew. Ugh. Stars have gone awry. You crawl onward. There's a violent outbreak of star bandits among the crew. In time, you find your way back to a stretch of sky you can locate on your charge. The journey continues. Just getting owned by all these random events. Keep eating up my crew. Suggest get less tasty crew. It's not my fault. Screw it, I'm taking a risk. That. Go out and find something. Find a port. Found nothing. Awesome. That's not promising. If we had a Retronaut, this wouldn't have happened. Stupid bad. I don't like this. We're low enough on supplies now that I don't want to just send my bat out willy-nilly. With crew levels low, less vital duties have begun to slip, like cleaning. Everything is covered in a layer of grime. There's a pervasive odor. It has passed the point of slovenliness and begun to affect morale, safety, and the health of those on board. So, we can reassign engineers to cleaning duty, which would affect the efficiency of our engines and therefore cost fuel, but this place has become an absolute sty. Or allow it to deteriorate. And the qualifier for this one I would like to point out is our engine is mostly staffed by the living. Which is a little concerning, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Alright. I don't like using up fuel or supplies for stuff like that, but it's better than I'm all for undead engineers too, but unfortunately I don't know how to get them. There is probably some roundabout way to get undead on your crew. Your distant drone. Crew member Grimace's chorister bees. Oh, that's a port. This is a big one too. Opposing part. This is Titania. Each one of these petals, I think, has a different name. I wanted the experience. So again, another port that I did not mean to find or need to from a quest or anything, but here we are. Welcome to Titania. Titania is cupped in the petals of a colossal orchid. Heady with scent, lurid with color, an enclave of bohemians have made it their home, seeking inspiration in the wilderness of the Reach. Oh, it's a rat brigade. Oi. Oi. Down here. 3 rats glower up at you. They're wearing tattered military uniforms and carry rusted derringers. They're polite enough to point them elsewhere. Many hands make light work. Oh man, I think... So, we could hire these rats on board, but it would replace the incautious driver that we have. So we need to make the decision if we want to hang on to our incautious driver and kind of see their storyline through, or if we want rats. Very dapper looking rats. I will leave that for now. I guess first things first, I would like to buy things. So this is where you can buy chorister nectar. Like actually buy it, not as a bargain. Oh, I hate paying that much for stuff, but we need it. What is in the bazaar? Jumble of undistinguished souls being sold. I don't think we need those. No, we need hours. Yeah, we need hours. A veiled pavilion rests in the curve of one of Titania's great petals. A veiled pavilion rests in the curve of one of Titania's great petals. Here the melancholy poet gathers stories from skyfarers. She then arranges to pass them on to any artist or writer willing to pay for inspiration to spur their brush or steer their pen. So it looks like there's a bunch of stuff that we could potentially donate here. We could donate our vision of the heavens, to get 70 bucks and 50 experience, which is not bad. Do that. And then we could go to Oberon's Landing. The port unfurls itself, welcoming you ashore. This perfumed haven was intended for thinkers, artists, philosophers, and poets. Instead, you enter its main dome to find yourself surrounded by arguing bohemians and the unfinished shells of buildings in a variety of styles. Nobody looks happy, but everyone agrees it's someone else's fault. Port report. What is Titania? A question with no easy answer. To the poets, a place of inspiration. To the stoneworkers, an untouched slab. To the playwrights, a blank page. A place of tranquility, of creation, and your interviewee pauses, suddenly looking worried. Do you hear buzzing? Apologies, must get inside. You can't see or hear anything, however, and must assume it's just force of habit. There is something about this game and the atmosphere of like a normal everyday life with a very heavy undercurrent of just deep-seated dread that just, it's really good. The writers of this game and all of the Fallen London stuff have really nailed that feeling. Let's meet with the Rhapsodic Mayor. Titania's petals fill the air with a perpetual perfume, but eventually you become accustomed to it. Even so, the scent of the many flowers in the mayor's small office sends your senses reeling. Obviously unaffected, she sits behind her desk and gestures for you to take the other chair. How can a place like this flourish out here in the dark? A spectacular place, isn't it? We couldn't believe that nobody else had colonized it after, well, whoever built all the crystal domes and spires. Honestly, I can't believe our luck. Ask about work. The Rhapsodic Mayor shakes her head. I think you will find us most self-sufficient, Captain. Enjoy your visit. Take in some poetry. If I think of anything that we might require, you will be the first to know. Let's explore Titania. Light sparkles through the jeweled petals onto the marble white paths. Wherever you explore, poets and singers perform their latest work, while artists peer behind canvases to try and capture the beauty in oil and chalk. In the horrors of the high wilderness, this is a place of safety and wonder where nothing could possibly disturb the peace. But what is that buzzing in the distance? Alright, the time has come. Do we keep the chief, our chief engineer? Do we keep the incautious driver, or do we go rat? I kind of want rats. We've already got a giant dog. How much money do we have? We got more than 400 bucks. We got more than enough money to pay for him. Oh wait, I can have two? What? Since when? Cool. Oh, that's even better then. In Sunless Sea, you can only have one of each officer. I remember that specifically, but I guess if we can have two, then there we go. So the smallest, most scarred rat is called Cinders. Aw. She introduces her companions. This, she indicates, the rat wearing the goggles, is my second, Petronella, our mechanic. She gestures toward a rat with glossy fur. And this is our agent provocateur, Albrecht. The rat inclines his head. I haven't actually selected one of them. That is why I am dumb. We need a locomotive. These battle-hardened rats are all that remains of the Rat Regiment, a mercenary company active in the early days of the Winchester War. Used to be a dozen of us, the best sappers around, says Cinders. Now look at us. Her whiskers twitch. Time for that later. We'll pay, Captain. Alright. So, yeah, that explains it. I haven't actually activated them, which would explain why I'm not getting these stat bonuses. I was wondering why we were having trouble there. I'm gonna go with rats because I want bales. Okay. Yeah, see, I was used to the way that Sunless Sea does it, in that you recruit an officer and then they are just there and they're active. You don't need to like activate them or anything like that. So, and then you have to replace them if you hire somebody else on. But I guess in Sunless Skies, you don't have to do that. You can have multiple people in these positions. You just can't have them both active at a time, which is a much harder to recognize when you only have one of each. Yeah, it's a much better system, I suppose, because it lets you be able to juggle more stories at once. Because in Sunless Sea, you know, you can be doing this one story with a certain character for a long time, but then if you meet a character you're like, I really want that character as my officer, you kind of have to give up with what story you were doing with the other one. So I like that. Let's talk to our dog. Who's a good dog? I love our dog. He is a good dog. He's very large. Yeah, so now these are our stats. That makes way more sense and should make our skill checks maybe a little bit easier in the future. But for the time being, I think that's going to do it for me tonight. We got some pretty good exploring done. We discovered Port Avon, a circus, and a giant flower city that is kind of kind of crappy city in general somehow. But um, yeah, we managed to complete a few missions. We got a bunch more, so we got a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of the nature of this game. You're juggling a lot of different plot points all at once, and whether or not you complete them is kind of up to the fate of the gods. We are running low on crew, so that's going to be a problem potentially. But again, it's a legacy game, so should this character die, the next person will pick up where they left off, more or less, and we can continue from there. So I'm enjoying this quite a bit. But that's gonna do it for me. So yes, thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to getting back to this next week. Um, I'll also be streaming this Tuesday evening. I don't know for sure what it's going to be, but I'm leaning towards something which is going to be kind of a callback to something I was streaming a while ago. So we might be getting into something a bit heavier on Tuesday evening. But if you're interested, all of these other people are all wonderful streamers. They're all friends of mine. So check them out. They've all got their schedules. There's always stuff going on every day of the week at this point. So I know several of these people are doing their art stream at the moment under B Drops' Art Soup. So I'll probably be sending everybody over there. And so I'll send everybody down to that stream. And then, yeah, Monday, Action Shakespeare will be back with some more random games out of her library, some miscellaneous stuff. And then Tuesday, B Drops will be streaming as well as myself. So there's always stuff going on. Check them out, and we'll go from there. But for now, I will send you to B Drops and tell them that offer them offer them some freshly seasoned hours if they're willing to buy them. And we'll see everybody next time. Thank you and good night.